The chains were cold. Captain Elias Vance felt them bite into his wrists as the metal shackles tightened with every jolt of the alien ship's engines. The air inside the brig was thick with a strange floral scent, sweet, but with an undertone of metal, like blood left too long in the sun. He sat on the floor, back against the curved wall, eyes on the single figure watching him from beyond the shimmering energy barrier. Her name, he had overheard from the guards, was Commander Lysara Vale. Tall, with silver hair that fell like liquid mercury over her shoulders, skin the color of pale moonlight, and eyes the deep violet of a dying star. The uniform she wore clung like armor to a frame that radiated strength. She was Xyrean, the enemy species humanity had been at war with for over a decade. And she had captured him herself. "You fought well for a human," Lysara said at last, her voice smooth but carrying an edge. "Your crew, however, was less impressive." "They were outnumbered," Elias replied evenly. "You'd be less impressive without 20 ships at your back." One of her brows rose, almost imperceptibly. She stepped closer to the barrier. "Tell me, Captain Vance, why venture so deep into Xyrean territory? Was it a suicide mission, or do you humans have a taste for arrogance?" Elias kept his gaze on her. "Reckon mission. Until you decided to start shooting." Her lips curved, not quite a smile, more like the shadow of one. "I do not regret it." She tapped the control at her wrist. The barrier dissolved with a soft hum. Elias tensed, expecting guards to flood in, but none came. She stepped into the cell herself. "Come with me." Scene 2, the Hall of Voices. They walked through corridors lined with strange crystalline panels that pulsed faintly as if alive. Elias noticed no one else in the halls, only the echo of their footsteps and the occasional vibration from deep within the ship. Lysara led him into a vast chamber where hundreds of translucent columns rose from the floor. Inside each column, light swirled in shapes almost human but not quite, faces, gestures, murmurs like whispers underwater. "What is this?" Elias asked, unable to hide his curiosity. "The Hall of Voices," Lysara said. "Every Xyrean commander carries the voices of those they've lost. It is tradition to remember them before a battle." She stopped before one column. Inside, a flicker formed the shape of a young woman, Xyrean, with the same silver hair and violet eyes. Her expression was serene. "My sister," Lysara said quietly. "Killed at the Battle of Hesteran Prime. By humans." Elias looked away. "And how many of my people have been taken by yours?" Her gaze sharpened. "This is why I brought you here, Captain. I want you to understand the cost. Not just for you. For us." Something in her tone, less anger, more exhaustion, made him pause. But before he could speak, an alarm blared through the chamber. The crystalline columns flared brighter, like startled eyes. Scene 3, the intrusion. A voice came over the comm in sharp Xyrean syllables. Lysara's expression hardened. "Pirates," she muttered. "Your people?" Elias asked. "Not Xyrean. Not yours either. Carrion scavengers who prey on the edge of war zones." She turned to leave, then hesitated. "You stay here." "Not a chance," Elias said. "You'll need help." She gave him a long, measuring look. "You are my prisoner." "Right now," Elias countered. "You need a soldier more than a prisoner." For a heartbeat, she stood perfectly still. Then, with a flick of her wrist, she released the magnetic locks on his shackles. Scene 4, the fight. The corridors erupted in chaos. Alien pirates, hulking, insectoid creatures with chitin armor, poured through the outer hatches, their jagged weapons tearing through the Xyrean guards. Elias and Lysara moved as one, covering each other's flanks. She was fast, deadly fast, her plasma blade cutting arcs of blue light through the attackers. Elias's stolen rifle barked in short, precise bursts, each shot dropping a pirate. At one point, a pirate lunged at Lysara from behind. Elias didn't think, he threw himself into its path, slamming the creature into the wall and firing point blank. Lysara glanced at him, her expression unreadable, before whirling to finish the last of them. The surviving pirates fled into the void. Silence returned, broken only by the hiss of damaged systems. "You fight differently," Lysara said after a moment. "Differently from Xyreans?" Elias asked. "Differently from what I was told humans were." Her eyes lingered on him for a beat too long before she turned away. "Follow me." Scene 5. The Decision. She led him to the ship's command deck. The bridge crew watched them with open suspicion as Lysara took her place at the central console. "We are damaged," her second-in-command reported. "The nearest Xyrean outpost is 2 jumps away." Lysara's gaze slid to Elias. "And the nearest human outpost?" "Half a jump," he said. The bridge went still. Her crew looked at her in shock. "If we go to your people," she said slowly, "we risk capture, or worse. If you try to make it to your own, you might not survive," Elias countered. "Your engines are fried, and you've got hull breaches in 2 sectors. You'd never make it through pirate space again." The tension stretched between them like a wire. Finally, she exhaled. "Set course for the human outpost." Scene 6. The Waiting. Hours passed in uneasy silence as the damaged vessel limped through hyperspace. Elias found himself in the observation lounge, staring at the streaking stars. He heard her approach before he saw her. "Your people will take me as a prisoner," she said. "They might," Elias admitted. "Or maybe they'll see what I see." "And what is that?" "That you're not just an enemy. You're a commander trying to keep your crew alive. I can respect that." She studied him for a long time, her eyes searching his face as though looking for a trap. "Respect," she murmured, almost to herself. Scene 7. The Shattering Truth. They dropped out of hyperspace within sight of the human outpost, a massive station ringed with defensive batteries. But as the comms lit up, a voice came through that froze Elias in place. It wasn't a greeting. It was an order. "Human vessel, you are instructed to destroy the Xyrean craft immediately. No survivors." Elias's blood ran cold. "That's my command channel." Lysara's crew looked at her, panic flickering in their eyes. She stood perfectly still, her jaw tightening. "So this is how it ends." Elias stepped forward. "No, not like this." He opened the channel. "This is Captain Vance. The Xyrean vessel is under my protection. They're not our enemies today." "Vance," came the sharp reply, "stand down. That's an order." "I'm disobeying that order," Elias said, his voice steady. "If you fire, you'll have to go through me." The silence on the channel felt like a held breath. Then, at last, "Understood, Captain. Proceed to dock." Scene 8. The Farewell. In the docking bay, the air was heavy with the smell of ozone and fuel. Human security teams waited at a distance, weapons lowered but ready. Lysara stood before Elias, her expression unreadable. "You've just made enemies among your own kind." "Maybe," Elias said. "But I've made a friend where I never thought I would." For the first time, she smiled, small, but real. "Perhaps you've also made one among mine." She extended her hand in the Xyrean fashion, palm up. He placed his hand over hers, feeling the strange, cool warmth of her skin. "Until we meet again, Captain Vance."